We have three things going on that are kind of unusual to happen together. The first one is that we see rising inventory. We also see the sales volume dropping way down, and we see prices kind of stabilizing. We're going to talk today a little bit about what does this mean for buyers and sellers in the market. First, here's a couple of key highlights. We saw 6,243 sales of homes in the GTA. This is down, one of the worst recorded months for June ever in Treb history. It's down about 16%. We also see inventory up way over 30,000, which is a 30% increase in the amount of listings on the market. Now, I'm going to show you the more specific details, but what we're seeing in general is June housing prices up 6% versus last year, but down a little bit from the May peak. My name is Marcy Verberg. I work here in the GTA, and I want to today show you three things. We're going to go through the June market data. We're going to talk about volume, inventory, and prices, and then we're going to add some context for it so you can see exactly what's happening in the market. Because what's happening also in Toronto, and this is really important to know, is that some areas are having like huge pressure. It's completely a buyer's market. Buyers are getting all the deals. But then on the other hand, we're seeing bidding wars going on in other areas. Last night I was in a bidding war. We had, three bids. It didn't go as high as probably it would have a couple of years ago, but here's the context. Firm offers were asked for. Price increases were asked for. People were backing down. That's a market from a couple of years ago, and nobody would really believe that if you just kind of look at the numbers right now. So you have to know which pockets in Toronto you're talking about when you're dealing with. This first slide here shows you Toronto more specifically. What you can see is that the average price is about $1,132,000, with the median price being about $972,000. That is the middle price if we sold, if we looked at the top and the bottom. Active listings in Toronto proper, 11,736, but sales of only 2,319 homes in the month of June in Toronto, meaning that the months of inventory in the city proper is sitting at about 5 months. And I'm going to show you kind of a breakdown in the areas in the city where this inventory is really building. Now, if you look at this chart, we said Treb has 31,600 listings altogether. 37% of the Treb listings are in the city, and the rest are elsewhere. So keep that in mind. Now, the city is also very, very affected by condos. So most of our inventory is built up in that kind of condo market. When you're going for a detached or a semi-detached home, what you're going to find is there's not as much inventory as there is kind of in that condo market. Now, in terms of active listings by property type, so this is the amount of listings on the market for each type of house. This is GTA. So what you can see in the detached, we have just over 3,000 detached available. The semi-detached, we only have, a very small amount really of detached homes and a small amount of kind of condo townhomes. Condo apartments, those mean your average building, average condo. There's tons of those available. The prices are coming down significantly on condos, especially you can get so many condos under $500,000 right now. If you kind of type in condo $500,000 and under, you're going to see so many. If you go for something that's, an older condo, you're going to get like 1,000 square foot condo for 500,000, which is amazing. Condo town, that means a townhouse is a condo. And then a row town is, kind of set up as a condo, or sorry, not a condo, but a townhouse, but you don't pay any fees on it. So that's what makes it a little bit different there. But you can see where the majority of the inventory is sitting there. Now, if you look at the Toronto city, what you're going to see is what's happening with the months of inventory. It's gradually been peaking up since March, where we've been kind of showing this slide. Central, which is where most of our condos are, you're going to see 5.7 months of inventory. The east is more stable, 3.2 months, and the west is actually gradually building each month. And if you look at March, we were only at 2.8, but a whole bunch of people decided to list their homes kind of in that spring market, and they're not selling through. So what you're seeing is the West End building up in inventory there. Now let's go back to our chart we always talk about here. This is the breakdown of the prices by the GTA, 416 and 905 area codes. You're always going to see the prices being a little bit higher in the city proper. If you look at kind of the average price for your home in detached Toronto, 1.6 million versus 1.3 in the 905. Now, keep in mind, if you're up in King or something like that, you're going to be like close to 3 million. But we have areas, in Durham and Simcoe, even Innisfil in here now that are kind of pulling down those prices a little bit. So you have to kind of look at your area before you say, oh, agent, I thought that I could get a better price. You need to know your specific neighborhood. Okay. Semi-detached, we obviously see more of those in the city. We have, as you saw, fewer of those on the market right now. And so what you're seeing is the price on the semi-detached is staying a little bit more stable. Okay. Now I can tell you from kind of being out in the market, a lot of people are looking for those kind of like Junction, Roncy, downtown kind of semi-detached houses, just over $1 million where they can kind of get into the market, still have a somewhat reasonable payment. Those are very popular right now. So the price is kind of remaining stable. Now, the detached houses, you are seeing a pretty big decrease in the city. You see like a 6.5% decrease in the average price of a detached home. Your townhouses are down about 5% also, and your condos are down 4%. Now, I honestly would have thought that the condos were going to be down more than that. This is the monthly GTA sales by the beginning of the year till June. I thought this might be kind of interesting because what we were saying is that May is the lowest recorded sales volume in history ever. June, it's also a record low. 2024 was the lowest sales since the early 2000s. But what you're seeing on average is it's coming up over the year, but with that drop from May to June, which is crazy because May, worst sales volume ever, and then June goes even lower than May. So that's pretty crazy. You're always going to see a lower sales volume kind of in that January timeframe. Nobody wants to go outside. July is shaping up really interesting this year so far because July should be dropping off. But just for what I'm feeling and the amount of offers we're doing right now, it feels like July is actually picking up. Now there's your average price over the year so far. It's kind of staying the same. It really hasn't changed that much. So I know we're in a buyer's market, especially in certain neighborhoods, but what's really happening here is that these prices are not dropping as much as people think that they're going to drop. So when we're negotiating, we're saying, I want 100,000 less, that kind of thing. You may not be always getting that. You are definitely getting better deals. And if you're doing a condo, you're getting way better deals than you were before. And 100% you are going to get a lower price than you would have in 2021 or 2022. It may not be quite as good as you were hoping for, right? Okay, so here's a comparison with the past 3 years. You can see the orange bar is 2025. You see it up, and then you kind of go down, and you can see the last couple of years. If anybody's interested in looking at those yellow bars, that's your 2022 when we had that insane market, and then it calms down after that. This is your new listings comparison. Again, the orange is your 2025. So you see that listings really going up. And what's really interesting, if you look to your crazy year of 2022, the gold bar kind of in the spring with the listings, we are, up past that point again. So we have a ton of listings, but what we don't have now is the same amount of buyers that we had then, which is causing this huge pileup of homes kind of sitting on the market. This one here shows your average price. We showed you a chart already that showed you year to date. Again, compared to the orange bar from 2022 to now, you see the prices then came down. They kind of stabilized. They're not going down as much as people would expect. So there you have it, guys. That is your market update for June of 2025. If you have any comments, please go below. You can put in your comments there. You can ask me any questions, and I'd be happy to send you that information.